The competition in the job market is very intense right now, and there are a lot of people out there without a job. But if I were to look for a job in the next 30 to 60 days, here's the step by step guide that I would follow. Now, this strategy has worked for me in the past and is still very relevant today. I don't like gatekeeping information for my audience, so I'm going to be sharing all the 5 steps I'll be talking about in the video straight away. Step 1, revamp my CV. Step 2, leverage on what I have. Step 3, connect with new people. Step 4, research problems in new startups. Step 5, prepare for interview. Now, if you're new here, my name is Akinlabi Idris. I am an HR person. I work in a global fintech company. I've been working remotely since COVID-19, so I also share updates about how people can navigate remote jobs, how they can navigate their careers and their lives. Without further ado, let's dive into the whole conversation. Step 1, revamp my resume and optimize my LinkedIn page. I subscribe to the fact that you need to have a master CV. And how can you do it? There are two ways to go about it. One is that you create it yourself. Two, you give it to an experienced CV writer to help you compose a genuine CV for yourself. Now, one problem that I see with a lot of people out there is they tend to write their CV themselves and they depend heavily on AI to generate. And that is why we have a lot of CV with similar information on it applying for the same role. This kind of CV comes off as ingenuine and it's not showing your uniqueness. If you want to compose a CV for yourself, I'm not saying don't use AI. I'm saying you should create a compelling CV that shows your true value. Your summary should be unique to you. Your skill sets, your soft skills and your hard skills should be unique to you. And also you should create a CV that shows the impact you had in your previous organization because this is what recruiters are looking to see on your CV. They want to see your skill sets, they want to see the impact you had in your previous organization. And just to bust your bubble, a recruiter spends between 5 to 10 seconds on a resume, and if they can't find this thing that I shared just now in there, they throw it off and you get the usual mail, which is the rejection mail. The second part of this is to optimize your LinkedIn page because both your resume and your LinkedIn is your first digital impression of you. So make sure your CV and your resume tallies with each other, not that you have a different role on your CV and you're having a different role on your LinkedIn page. So make sure you do this. That's the first step. Now let's move quickly into the second step. The second step is for you to leverage is for me to leverage on what I have because I am looking for a job in the next 30 to 60 days. So I need to leverage on what I have. And what do I have? I have the skills. I have the network of people that I've worked with in the past. I have a LinkedIn profile that has more than 8,000 followers. So the first thing you need to do is when you're leveraging on what you have is to talk to people that you've worked with in the past. These are cold people that are close to you, that you talk with, you've worked with, they know the impact of what you've done and easily they can recommend you to get a job. Now the second part of that is to also have a LinkedIn brand. Now I so much cherish online presence because you can easily put out information in there and from there on you can go viral. You can see people who are going to repost it. So for instance, if you're passively looking for a job or you are actively looking for a job, you can drop it on your LinkedIn page and from there on you see people who would repost what you've just shared and who knows, you can get a job from there. So you have to leverage on what you have. Step 3 is to connect with new connections. Now, how do I go about that? I am super big on LinkedIn, and that is why I have 8,000 followers on LinkedIn. So, what do I need to do? I look for people, identify decision makers in industry that I'm looking at joining. Now, once I am able to identify those decision makers, like the hiring managers, like recruiters, like HR, like the CEO of those organizations, what I would do is I would send them a personalized message. And from there on, once they receive my connection request, I would also time them. Afterward, the next thing to do is to engage with them and interact with them. Now, the first thing I do is interacting with their posts. Is either I like or I comment on their post. If I'm commenting on their post, I don't just say, "Oh, thank you." No, what I do is I ask questions based on what they posted, so I can get more insight into their thought process and the likes. And from then on, we can pick up conversation in the thread. Easily, they've already identified or seen my name already. I'm putting my name out there. Now, another thing that I do if I'm not dropping a question is to put a controversial take, a take whereby you have more other people coming in and commenting and just sharing their opinion and the likes on it. From then on, the author, the person that I identify already see my name and just be like, okay, who is this person? And from there on, the next thing for me to do is to, just continue in their inbox. And that is how you can easily network with people. And that is how I have been networking with people. Today, when I look at my profile, I have like, there's no fintech in Nigeria. I don't even have someone in as an employee, like on my network. Is it that their HR, their legal person, like different people, you understand, in my network. So that's the third step. The fourth step would be for you to research problems that startups are facing. Now, when you network with people, you understand, you want to ask for recommendations from them if they have job. But if they don't have job, you have to be very proactive, and that is why you need to start making research about problems startups are facing. For instance, if you're a copywriter, you can go to their website and identify problems with their copywriting. Draft a presentation, a pitch deck of how you can help them solve this problem that would generate more revenue. What company is all about is revenue. So you need to be able to communicate in that terms to how you can improve the revenue. For instance, you're a marketing person, you can identify problems in their marketing that has been costing them a lot and how you can help them increase their revenue. Once you're able to identify that, you will get an audience. The last step is for me to prepare for interviews. Now, how do I go about preparing for interview? The first thing that I do is to read and understand the JD itself because whatever question they want to ask in the interview is stated plainly in the JD. So I want to look at, okay, what tools are they requesting for? What problem are they trying to solve? What impacts do they need from my previous experience? And by getting those things, I'm able to use that to draft a solid introduction of myself. Now, another thing you need to also understand about preparing for interview is that the first two interviews are always behavioral questions. The first one is like a quick coffee chat. The second one is more around behavioral questions and a few technical questions. Now, behavioral question is one of those things that always make a lot of candidates fail at interview because they don't know how to explain the challenges they face and how they've been able to impact the previous organization. So you want to prepare for those behavioral questions because technical interview is very straightforward. It's either you know it or you don't know it. But if you know you're good in technical, you need to start improving on your behavioral responses. Now, outside of like the introduction, another thing that I usually do would be to stalk the hiring manager or the person who is going to be interviewing me in an interview. I stalk them so I can understand who they are as a person. We might have things that are common with each other. Maybe we went to the same school or maybe we studied the same courses. The reason why I do this is for me to be able to understand the interviewer. Because one of those factors that would affect or that would impact you getting the job is your likability. You can have all the technical knowledge, you can be good, you can know how to speak. But if the interviewer or the hiring manager is not getting any vibes from you, you might not get the job. You understand? So you need to be able to understand the person and resonate with them at the same frequency. That way it improves your chances of getting the job. Now those are like the five steps about what I would do if I want to get a job in the next 30 days. I don't know if I missed any. I know that a lot is just coming. So make sure you actually subscribe to my page. And now I think I want to add one more thing to this would be, you need consistency. You need to be consistent with your efforts and don't go through the easy apply routes. Most of the time, 80% of the time, it doesn't really work, especially on LinkedIn. So make sure you're applying for jobs on the official web page and you're doing follow up. I think the last thing I should add would just be, follow up with all your interviews and track all your interviews. That way you are getting good responses. That will be all that I want to share today. Make sure you're actually subscribed to my page and you can put in the comment section anything that I missed or anything you want me to talk about. I think in my next video I'll be sharing a strategy that I use in applying for job itself. Now this is just on the networking side, but in my next video I'll share a strategy that I use or the web platform that I use in applying for jobs. Thank you. Bye.